All right. Hello, 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 hello. This thing does this things. Okay. Good to see you all today. We've got another week. Blessed to have another week. But this week in supervision is what we're getting to today. And we're so excited about presenting today. I got some things I want to share with you that I think will be good for therapy, your therapy interventions. And what we do this program or this little maybe we'll turn into a podcast one day, but what we do this for is that we want to help out supervisors as they come out of our supervisor training, which we had a very successful supervisor training. And we thank all of you all for attending. We had a wonderful group. And and so what happens is after people come out of supervision, they want to know many times how to be effective with providing supervision because it's a supervisor training. And so what we do is in supervision, this week in supervision, what we do is try to highlight some of the things that would be necessary to learn in order to become a great supervisor. And I also always like to give a shout out concerning our training. And we already have it updated because we'll be doing another training in July, on July 24th and 25th in 2023, of course, this year. And we're excited about that because we had such a great training. I'm trying to tell you, I was awesome, and we got some awesome responses. But let's jump into what we have to speak about today. And again, we're going through what we discuss in supervision, okay, and trying to give you some perspective on that. And I really enjoyed this one. We had a great. I just got out at noon, and I'm such a perfectionist that a lot of times I will spend too much time trying to get this together. But let's just jump in. Let's just jump in because I'll get to wasting time. All right. So we had a scenario, but we won't get to the scenario just yet. And let me go on and try to share my screen here. I got to take the answers away, but I got it. We went over some test questions, okay, and we're going to go through those, what test questions we went through, and it's going to help out with some of you all that are not only just needing a little bit of additional test prep type of information, but also for individuals that are needing to help to break down theory and things like that with their supervisees, or even using some of these interventions in therapy. So let's just jump into it, okay? I'm going to share my screen. I'm sorry, I'm getting off to a choppy start today, y'all. All right. So this is the question we started off with, and this one came from Pocket Prep. It says the following would not be a position supported by a social worker who practices family therapy with a family systems model. And the first answer is A. Boundaries are the main mechanism by which members' individual differences and separate identities are expressed and maintained. B, treating the identified client will help the entire family to change. And C, individual members of a family understand their roles and sense of self-worth based on the other family members' behaviors. Okay, so we use these questions to kind of strengthen the competency levels of the supervisees, but also to bring practical experiences in to the different scenarios that a lot of times that we're using. And so just to go real quick through this, the answer for this one, this is Pocket Prep. This is not a question I created myself. The answer to this question is B. Treating the identified patient will help the entire family to change. And we had, I don't know if I brought it here, but we had a question not long ago about what's the sole emphasis of systems theory. And we talked about systems theory. The sole emphasis is that we want homeostasis within the unit, the family unit. Homeostasis, a balance, in that when one part of the family unit is suffering and kind of off kilter, then it brings an imbalance to the rest. Okay. And so this is kind of a follow-up on some systems theory questions. And the answer to this one is B. Treating the identified patient will help the entire family to change. That is not a part of family systems theory. As a matter of fact, that's sometimes the view of what the system will believe. The family system will believe that because this person that's in the family is causing a lot of problems, then they are the reason. Um, they are the ones that need to change. And once they change, they will the family will come together. And we're going to give a real good scenario about that before we end to make this practical. So the answer is B to that. So I did a follow-up question. I went to Chat GPT to get them to help me with this because the thought came to me, what actually is that when you have a scenario like B, when treating the identified patient will help the entire family to change? What kind of scenario is there when that thought process or that way of thinking is present? And so think about that. So this is what you would ask the group. You'll ask them, what kind of situation would somebody be thinking like that? And then you can create a question, go to Chat GPT, they'll help you create a question. I asked them to make this one a multiple choice. It says, which term in systems theory is used to describe when family members believe that one family member is the cause of the family dysfunction? Okay. What is that? And they got that one pretty easy. A, boundaries, B, disengagement, C, scapegoating, D, homeostasis. And the answer is scapegoating. Scapegoating. Of course, scapegoating is used when that family member is being blamed for the problems of the family. And the family is believing that if that person would get their act together, if they would get off of drugs, if they would stop having all these problems, then our family would be close, our family would be functional. But so that's called scapegoating. So I want to move on because we got a lot to talk about that we'll get into. Because really I'm basing this on something I was watching on television, to where it was a situation. I want y'all to think about this because this is kind of what we would case, or what we cased a little bit in supervision, at least with this last group. The scenario was, and this was based on something I saw on TV, Ayanla. There was a family of I think it was 4. So it was a husband, wife, and a young man and a young woman. And let's say the kid is like 22 years old, right? And so what happened is that a family secret was revealed. Okay. And the family secret was that his father, who he thought was his father, and I deal with this a lot, his father, who he thought was his father, was actually not his biological father. Okay. And because of his pain, he blew up the situation. He was a disc jockey, and he was going on radio and talking about the family system in front of everybody. And so it started to cause a division in the home. And the family, him and his sister used to have a great relationship, and it caused them to have differences in their relationship where they weren't connected. I think this guy went for 5 or 6 years without talking with his family because of the pain. Hopefully I can get to that. Okay. So what is happening here when you have a family that's been functional, right? And something like this happens, and the person responds in a certain type of way that the family didn't expect because they're angry about the lie, right? And it causes the division. How do you treat that? And these are the questions you want to be asking your supervisees. How do we treat these individuals? How do we treat this family unit if you were the therapist? So let's go to this next question, and maybe this will bring some things into context. So which of the following is a potential reason, according to systems theory? And I put this in Chat GPT, and I knew the answers, but they helped me. Let me tell you, this thing is amazing. It's scary. Which of the following is a potential reason, according to systems theory, why a mother might use her son as a scapegoat? Okay, we're bringing in everything into context using Chat GPT to help expedite some of the questions that you might want to bring to the group. Scapegoat when he gets upset about a family secret being identified. A, to encourage healthy expressions of emotions within the family. B, to address underlying conflicts and promote resolution. C, to maintain family cohesion and preserve the family system. D, to promote individual growth and self-reflection. And so again, what is the reason, according to the system theory, that the mother might use her son? And this was, no doubt, this was C, was an effort for her to How much do I have left? This was an effort for her to, I'm getting my own answers mixed up because I'm going too fast. Okay, I'm tripping here. Which of the, okay, to promote family cohesion. So the mother, the answer C, to maintain family cohesion and preserve the family is the answer. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tripped up here. And so this is what happens when you go live. But this was the reason, and this is what we have to look into, y'all. This was the reason why she made this decision. Okay. And so if you're treating the family, if you have the family system in play here and you're trying to help this family out, it has to be put on the table and understood why the mother might have made this decision. Okay. Initially, she made the decision, it may not have been a very rational decision, but the way that the scenario played out was that the son, the biological father didn't want to be involved. And how many cases do you all have where you have a unit or you have an individual and they experience something like this where they don't have maybe that family, that father or that mother who wanted to be involved with them after they were birthed. So they weren't a part of them growing up and they didn't get to bond with them and things like that. This causes a lot of dysfunction, right? But the reason why she did it is because she wanted to maintain family cohesion and preserve the family system. So in other words, she pulled this other man into the picture and that made things look right. And it pacified some of her wound of not being able to have that man there. She was only 16 years old and she didn't have that young man there to help her with this new child. And because of that, it brought about anger within her. And she decided, because he's not helping, because he's not being a part of this situation, I'm going to determine that he will never have a relationship with my son. And a lot of times with your clients, when you're trying to help them with this, it could be an older mother helping them with, like, your children are upset because of this decision you made, or a younger mother that's in the process of making this decision right now. We have to help them to understand and to process the pain and anger and help them to rationalize if this is going to be the best decision for their child. Because the statistics are saying, and we have to share some of this information with psychoeducation, but we can't push an agenda, but we also have to offer perspectives that bring into play what the consequences of these decisions might be. Am I making an impulse decision because I'm angry, or am I making this decision because I feel it's the best for the child, that they never ever see their father or their mother, even if that parent was to recover? Okay. And so this has impacts in a lot of homes. So we're moving to talking to your group, helping them to process how they would work with this in therapy. Okay. If they had this unit, if they had the whole family, or if they had them one-on-one, how would they work through this situation? And so you might ask the group, what are other reasons why the mother, let's just say, may have made this decision, or other reasons why the decisions were made that were made. Okay. Anger at the son for exposing. Okay, we're going to skip over that. Okay, so let's just go to the treatment of the mother. How do we treat the mother? If we're going to treat the mother, we have to put on the table her feelings, even though the results of her feelings may have caused a lot of damage to our home. And I've got to end. A lot of damage to our son and to the family. The family is not functioning and they're blaming the brother or the son for this. We have to have empathy regarding her decision. So questions that we want to ask that's going to be helpful for recovery. Has she overcome the anger with the biological parent? Because that's going to be a problem. If that hasn't been overcome, that's going to be a problem moving forward. That's going to be a barrier, and it's going to make her justify that reason or that decision, right? Also, where are we? Does she continue to justify her behaviors? For this to be healed, she can no longer justify her behaviors in this manner. She can have empathy for herself in making those decisions, but understand that the impact of it has harmed her son. and essentially has harmed her family, because had this not been done, we wouldn't have this disruption. So that's going to be tough, because she's going to need to account for the lie that she told. She's going to need to have sensitivity for her son, and it's going to be helpful that she apologizes. Now, you can't push any of this, but these are some of the things that you may explore with the client and understand why some of these things are functional, right? How do we treat the son? The son, he's got a lot of anger, obviously. So we need to seek to understand his anger. Ask him what would make him feel better about a bad situation. In other words, we're not going to lie. This is a bad situation. You didn't get the bond. You didn't have the choice, right? It's concerning your father. Okay. So what would make this situation not so bad if we could change anything, or if we could correct at this point? What type of support does he need from his mother? Because there's a disconnect. They have been pretty close, and now there's a disconnect. So what is it that you need from mom right now? A lot of times that's just an accountability, I'm sorry, or an explanation. Empathy for the pain of his mother. Each party is going to need empathy for the pain of his mother in making the decision, and ultimately he is going to need to be able to put on the table forgiveness as well. And so there's a lot of other things that ChatGPT broke down that you can discuss on your own. They said preservation of the family was the reason why she made the decision. Avoidance of personal responsibility is on the table. Diffusing internal conflict, maintaining family homeostasis was the idea, and this is the reason why. And so this is what you could do in supervision. We're at time. I hope y'all are able to get something from this. I always go long. I have determined that this will probably never happen in 10 minutes. So I apologize to the people who don't have the time, because I don't like all the time watching long videos, but it's just really tough. Maybe we'll get this narrowed down at some point, but I hope it helped. Y'all take care now. All right. Bye-bye.